Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizzano. This is episode 309 of the world famous, the University Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. But ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call it Online Marketing Moves, and we are coming to you live today. Today is June the 17th, 2021. At the time of this recording, we are here in the great state of Georgia, in the city of Atlanta, Georgia. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you today? Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you this. Podcasting is something else, you know? You have to be patient. You have to be diligent when you're doing podcasts. Believe you me, if you get started now, before you know it, you'll be doing episodes on a regular basis. You will get the hang of it. You'll get into a groove, and you will start, potentially you'll start making some money, and you just have to be sort of dedicated and committed. And once you start it, don't stop. And that's a lot of things, but especially with podcasting, because a lot of people are more video centric these days. It's just the world we live in, but there is room for you in the podcasting world, in the video world. So never get too discouraged, never get too down when you start off. If you're in the middle of it and you have some, ebbs and flows. Some weeks you're gonna have a lot of listeners. Some weeks you're not gonna have a lot of listeners, especially in the first, few months to a year, couple years, because it's just how it goes, But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about coaching. Now, there are apparently, from what I see, there are a lot of quote unquote coaches on the internet. All right. There's a lot of people out here telling you how to make the soup. They're not actually making the soup, but they're telling you how to make the soup. Now, me, myself, ladies and gentlemen, I've been a coach. Okay. When I was on the road, after forget how many years, but after a while, they asked me one day, they said, "Hey, would you like to start training people to, show them the ropes, show them how to drive a truck?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So I trained, or if you want to say coach, I coached 30 to, I believe it was around 40 people over the years. For for a 2-year stretch, I was just knocking them out, boom, 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 every month. But the I'll tell you what, how on the internet you get a coach and you talk to your coach maybe 1 hour out the week, 2 hours out of the week, maybe once a month. I don't know how that stuff actually works, but when you are coaching in the truck driving world, when you are training somebody for those 30 days, not only are you driving with them, but you are living with them. And that is something quite amazing, because you get to know these people, and of course, some people you coach, but you have to, now this is one thing you have to do, personal wise, some people that you coach, you're gonna like more than others. Don't get me wrong, okay? Some people, you're gonna be like, I really don't really like them. But you want to coach everybody, you want to give your best effort for everybody that you coach. You just don't want to be like, I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy's politics. I'm not gonna coach him. No, if they are paying you money, you have a responsibility to give them the best coaching that you can, And with that being said, also you want to coaching is, you want them to, this is how I look at it. When I was coaching people, training people, I would let them do stuff on their own, and then I would watch. I would be far enough back to where they could, if they would fall, I'd be able to pick them up quick. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't just let them, I wouldn't give them a piece of advice and be like, all right, go do it yourself. No, I would tell them, show them, You know, and then we would go through it, and then they would do it, and I would sit back a little bit, watch them do it. You know, and if they did it right, of course, I'd say, hey, you know, that's a good job and everything. But if they didn't, I would just say, hey, you know, we got to work on this, we got to work on that. You know, and coaching is not about you telling somebody what to do all the time. Coaching is about guiding them to a place that they want to go. You know, if you are a jump shooting coach in the NBA, you want somebody to work on their jump shot. You know what I mean? You want them to get better. You want to break it down. You got to go from, you got to build, you are building, you know, you are building something. You're not just, hey, your jump shot's trash. Let's do this, let's do that. No. You know, you get some tape, you say, let me see your form. Let me see what you're doing. You know, what you might be making some mistakes here and there. And sometimes some people don't need to be coached as hard. Some people need all the coaching. Some people need a little help. Some people need a lot of help. It just depends. That's what a coach is for. You are here to evaluate. You are here to assess. You're here to make sure that you get the job done. Now, the one problem, of course, on the internet is people want you to sign up for all these coaching. They're like, hey, I can teach you this, I can teach you that. But we all know a lot of people are not qualified, you know. Like and this is one thing about selling courses. And you want to be careful because yes, you want to make money, don't get me wrong, but you know, there are some people that who are just not, and I mean just not qualified to get coaching from you. Like some people, if you come to me and you say, hey, I want to start an online business, and I say, okay, great. Have you ever tried to start an online business? Have you ever thought about it? Like, what's your plan? What's your game plan? And if they have zero answers for you, you should tell them maybe you should come back. Like, because what are you coaching? You know, you're coaching a complete, and now you're gonna have to hold the hand, and you're gonna have to do everything. And it's like, do you have that much kind of? Because that's some real, you know, and that's some real time taken out. And for you to do that kind of coaching, you're gonna have to charge a lot more for one-on-one private coaching. And you know, more than likely, the person that comes to you and that says, I want to start a business, but I never thought about starting a business is, I mean, let's be honest with each other. They probably don't have a lot of resources, you know what I mean? A lot of funds to be paying you to start from straight scratch, you know? No, like if you know somebody and they say, hey, I want, you know, somebody finds you on the internet and they like you and they say, hey, I want to be coached by you. You say, all right, great. What have you worked on? What have you, you know, failed at, succeeded at? Like what? And they say, well, I tried this, I tried that, you know. And it's like, all right, now you can work, you got something to work with, you know. I wouldn't, like, if my brother told me, hey, I want to do a podcast, I would have to act, I would probably not, and this is the truth. I would not coach my brother on doing a podcast because I know my brother is solely in it for the money. Like it's a waste of time. And really, if you're in any of this stuff for just pure money, it's more than likely it's not gonna really work out. You know, I'm like, yeah, because I mean, let's face facts. When you are creating content, like a podcast is the long play. You know, it's not, you're not gonna be a millionaire, you know, tomorrow. You know, especially you and I. You know, we're not gonna be millionaires overnight. You know, maybe, you know, some years from now, somebody might be like, I want to give you an exclusive deal. When I get more known and more, you know, or even you know, you might get more well known, and somebody like, we want to buy your podcast, you know. But in the beginning, nah, this is definitely a love thing. You have to really enjoy it. You really want to have to do it. You know, you have to say, I'm gonna stick with it. So somebody like my brother who always wants to do things just for money purposes, and it never works out for him, and that's why. So you want to make sure the people that you are coaching qualify for your coaching program. And also, the reason why you want to make sure people qualify for your coaching program and you want to be comfortable with the people that you're working with is because you don't want to get bad mouthed too much. Like if you just start taking on people, and it's not. Listen, as far as business goes, everybody should not. Everybody's people always say they want to run a business, but we all know why people want to run a business. So a lot of people are not going to qualify for your coaching. Like a lot of people are not, like, especially if you have a specialty. Let's say you start. Let's say you become a email. Let's say you become proficient in email marketing, and you really are getting the job done, and you're really doing great with email marketing. And you go, you know what? I could make some extra money. And coaching is always a good way to make money. So you know, even it doesn't matter. So let's say you get good at email marketing. All right, you start making real profit from email marketing, and you go, okay, I want to start coaching. Everybody that you run across is not going to qualify for your coaching program, and you shouldn't sell to everybody. And because it's more profitable for you to be selective. It's more it will last longer. It'll be more sustainable if you don't allow everybody into the program, because you don't want the bottom dwellers. You don't want the people who are going to be like, all right, I signed up for this program. I'm paying however much for this program. And a week later, guys, a scam. Nope, don't. Nope, I work with them because they want to make $1 million in 1 week. Oh, he gave me an email tip and it didn't work. F them, like you don't want that. And that will happen. I've seen that. I get this newsletter every month, and I get these emails from this guy, and he said he had a guy sign up for his newsletter. He got the book because he gives a free book too. So he gives people a free book, and somebody got the book and they got the one newsletter, and it's like, all right, I want to cancel. All this information is I already know this information, and then they try to come back 6 months later. He tell them, nope, you can't come back because you sign up once and you got the book and you got one newsletter and you're like, oh, that's it. I'm good. I know enough. So why come back? And it's kind of like that because you don't want a lot of people. It's like my wife the other day. My wife, she had this lady. Her kids had a birthday party, and she obviously could not, because we know, like my wife, she's been there long enough, so I know when people can't afford a party and they try to do the chargeback trick. You know what I mean? So this lady could not afford the party, and she wants her money back. So she starts making up stuff. She's like, "Oh, my kids got sick." Your kids, how can your kids get sick off the food that they cooked? Because the kids make their own food, so she's like, oh, they got sick, this, that, and the other, and there was like parties that day, nobody else, the same products that all these other people use, and you're two out of all the 20 something kids that were there, your two kids, both of your kids, two kids that live together, both of them got sick. Yeah, okay, wink, wink. So she's gonna try to dispute the charge and get a charge back, and you really don't want that kind of stuff going on too much in your business. So that's why you want to really weed people out, and you don't want to coach everybody. Now, me personally, when I was in the truck, we had no choice. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't my company. I was a driver, and they said, we're gonna give you whoever we give you, and that's it. So I didn't have a curation process. I didn't have something I could be like, I don't really want to train this person. They would come, and if they had any kind of negative, actions in the first week, I would highly recommend that they quit. But I can't really force anybody off the truck at the time. Because I remember I had a guy, he came and he said, first question, he said, "Hey man, I heard truckers don't make any money." And I said, "Well, why are you here?" And he said, "I just want to see for myself." And I was like, "Well, you got to learn first. I mean, how are you gonna just come and make that kind of statement?" And he's like, "I just want to see." He said, "I heard they don't make any money, so I ain't expecting to make any money." And I was like, "Oh boy." I mean, he turned out to be an all right fella, but that kind of attitude in the beginning is just, and you don't want people asking you 100 questions like, "Is this coaching gonna work for me?" It's like, you have to implement what I'm saying. You have to implement the things that I'm teaching you. You can't just not implement them and then say, oh, this didn't work, I want my money back. It doesn't work that way. And also, in order to be a coach, you have to learn, you have to know how to get coached. You have to take coaching. If you are one of these people who think, oh no, I don't need a coach, I don't need, maybe you shouldn't be a coach. Like, it's something to that. Like, I heard this guy tell a story. He said a guy wanted to start charging $25,000 for coaching. And so he wanted the other guy to help him out, And so this guy was like, "Hey, I need 15,000 for me to help you out." And he said, "$15,000? I ain't paying that kind of money." And he's like, "You want to charge people 25,000 for you to coach them, but you don't want to pay 15,000 for me to help you out, set up the program?" He said, "Then you're not gonna make any money." And I believe that to be true because you have to know, how you have to, you know, you have to know how to take directions in order to give directions. I learned that in the military. Like, we had people who you would tell them you would tell them something and they'd be like, "I'm not doing that." And it's like, okay, you're not gonna last long in the military because it's a lot of do as I told, It's a lot of just do it, don't ask 1,000 questions, and you just do it. I mean, of course, you don't do nothing illegal, but you just do it, and in order for you to actually become a good coach, you have to learn how to get coaching. And I used to, when I first started driving, I would take advice I would listen to different drivers because it was a totally different world when I first started. We used to all be in the truck stop together. It was like, now it's not the same. Now it's rare when I speak to somebody that actually drives a truck, which is crazy to me. But back then, like 2003, 2004, there was a bond. And you would talk. I would always talk to somebody who had been driving longer than me, and I would say, like I learned so much. I learned about buying food from Walmart from a guy. I learned about buying groceries. I learned about keeping, where should I keep my stuff? I remember because at first I was like, man, I need to get an apartment. This guy said, "Hey, you don't need an apartment, you need just get a storage unit, this, that, the other, And I'm like, okay. And I learned different things from different people, and also from the people that I rode with. A couple people during my training, I learned some stuff from them as well, And you also learn what not to do. You have to, because listen, every coach has a flaw, and it's all right. You know what I mean? Like, we all have our weaknesses. We all have stuff that we could get better at. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you mine. If I was coaching you, I would tell you, hey, don't procrastinate like me. Sometimes I used to be one of the biggest procrastinators, and I would put stuff off, and I'm like, you know, and it's like, I know I need to do it, but what's gonna happen if this, and then I would start thinking, a little too much. So for me, procrastination is what used to be one of my, things, one of the things I was weak at. So we all have things that you can learn from, and you can also learn, Now, once I take action, I take it, but and I take it head on, and but it's just getting the getting started part is for me is but we all have those kind of weaknesses. And another thing that you want to be careful about is it's like when I wanted to do voiceover, and I remember I was looking up people, and one of the things they said was, don't take advice from a person that hasn't done voiceover in like 2 years. Like, you want a coach who's actually still getting produced, who's actually still doing voiceover. You don't want a person who's just out here saying, "Hey man, I'm your coach," And that's kind of true. You don't want somebody, because a lot of people, the hustle these days, and it is a hustle, but a lot of people, they may have had like 1 month of success at some kind of e-commerce or something like that, affiliate marketing, and then they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna coach you. I'm gonna sell you this $10,000 course, and I'm gonna be your coach." And it's like, you done it for a month, and now you stopped, and now you could coach me on how to get make a $10 course, but can you really coach me on affiliate marketing? So that's one thing you want to watch out for, and you want to make sure that these people are still kind of in the trenches, or still running a legit business. You don't want them to just learn from a course seller. You want to learn from somebody who's actually putting these philosophies to use. It's just like I could come to you and you could say, hey, how can I get people to see my podcast without telling people? And I could definitely coach you on that. Like we could go on for a few hours about that. You know what I mean? And I'll give you a perfect example. Last night, every day I go on Twitter and I upload the podcast and I use different hashtags. And last night I had 1,000 views of the podcast. That means 1,040 eyeballs to be exact saw the podcast. Now, does that mean 1,000 people are going to download the podcast? Of course not. We both know that. But the thing is, 1,040 people saw the podcast. So you want to get you want to get all your content out there. You want to get all the content out there. You want to let people know, hey, I have content. And some people will come back and click on the link. Some people will find, and eventually, if you do this enough, you do this every day, there's going to be more and more and more eyeballs to see what you are up to. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. And whenever you are looking to get coached or you want to be coached, make sure that you are in the trenches. Make sure you are doing this. Make sure it hasn't been that long. You don't want to be. It's like my man John Gruden came back. He came back and to coach. And it's been a long time since John Gruden coached. And it's like, how is this going to work? Because it's been a long time. And a lot of times, I think the most successful person when it comes to that kind of stuff is like, I think Dick Vermeil. He stopped coaching the Philadelphia Eagles, for a long time. Dick Vermeil was a football coach, and he used to coach the Eagles. He took them to a Super Bowl, and then he got burnt out. And then I think he stopped coaching for like 15 years. He came back and coached the Rams and led them to a Super Bowl. So it's very rare when somebody comes back from that long from coaching and they like, hey, I'm great. I can coach you guys again. You have to sort of stay in that world. You want to keep your iron kind of sharp. So be careful about that. There are a lot of people out here who are not coaching at all, who are not doing the things that they say when it comes to coaching. I saw a video today of a guy who, I guess he was claiming that he was making a $10,000 phone call, but a $10,000 sale call, and he had it on speakerphone, which I thought was kind of weird, but I think it was sort of a fake. They were saying it was a fake coaching call, but I could a fake sales call, but I could definitely see that. So you have to be careful about who these people you want coaching you. And also, if you are going to be a coach, you want to make sure that you are in the trenches, or at least keeping up with, it's like every year, I know your boy Bill Belichick, every year he studies like new rules, new plays, all this stuff. He keeps up with this stuff, you know what I mean? And you want to be that kind of coach. You don't want to, it would be embarrassing for you to be a coach and you would be like, hey, you should go on MySpace. And they go, MySpace? Ain't no more MySpace, man. What are you talking about? Like that would be bad, right? Of course. So, just be careful. Just give people, if you're going to take money from people, give your best effort. Really, 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 really dig into it, and really, like now, everybody's not going to. I mean, you hope so, you want to, but we both know you could curate a lot of people. You could go through a lot of people. There's still going to be one or two people who slide through. There's going to be one or two people who don't want to do the work. There are going to be one or two people who say, hey, this guy, he ripped me off, or she ripped me off. Her, him, somebody ripped them off. And, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do about that. But don't always sell to the masses. If you have a specific, and, if you're going to be it depends on what kind of coach you're going to be. If you're going to be like a specialist coach, you can always charge more. If you're going to be more kind of like general, general coach, like, hey, hey, you guys, take action. You can do it. That kind of coach, then you shouldn't charge as much, but you could probably get more people into your coaching. But like I said, be careful about that because you don't want everybody. You don't want the dregs of Facebook. No offense, but you see a lot of these people on these Facebook groups, and they're never making any money because they're never doing anything. They're just hanging out in Facebook groups all day talking about how great some product is and how somebody's a scam artist and all this kind of stuff. But it's not. You don't want to be the a person on the sideline all the time. You want to be the. You don't want to be You don't want to be in the arena and always in the stands. You want to be out playing the game. So you could be a coach. There's different ways you can go down, different paths you can go down. Just figure it out. And do your research. Like that's one of the most important things. I know talk strategy sometimes. A lot of times in this podcast, we talk more kind of like in the head space, just because there's so much information out there. You could find it, and you should find it, and I could give you a few tips. I could help you out along the way, but you shouldn't listen to 100% of the things I say because some things I say you're not gonna agree with, and some things, it's just how it is, because we're all different. So it's not a big deal. Like I wouldn't get offended. Like my sister-in-law called me one time and I said something on a podcast. She's like, I don't agree with that. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. That's what, it is what it is. I don't expect, hell, my wife don't agree half the time what I say. So it is what it is. I don't expect anybody to be a robot, but, you figure this stuff out. You look up information. You find the information. You go through it, you weed through it, and then you take the best information you can, write it down, keep it, and use that. Because listen, a lot of these people regurgitate the same stuff anyway. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, some personal advice: if I'm gonna be a coach right now, there's a reason why some things have been around for like 300 or 400 years. There's no. A lot of people try to tell you about all this selling, and oh man, I don't like to sell, or I'm not a salesman, this, that, and the other. But we are all selling something to somebody. So the tried and true tips, they work for a reason. You want to give good customer service. That's one of the more important things. You have to be liked. You want to be. I'm not saying that you have to bend over backwards and kiss nobody's backside, but people buy from you because they like you. They don't buy from you because you have the greatest, unless you do have the greatest product. But there's a reason why Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, they all sell iPhones. Correct. And you know why people go to Verizon? Because Verizon has good service. Their customer service is but their range is excellent. Trust me, I know. But one thing I used to have T-Mobile. You know what I miss about T-Mobile? The customer service. I enjoyed T-Mobile. Their phone used to stop on me all the time, but I would always call them up, and they would be like, "Thank you for being a customer with us for 5 years." And I'd be like, "You know what, man? T-Mobile, y'all so nice, man." I used to be ready to call and be upset, but they was always so nice to me that I was like, I'm gonna wait. And then eventually, it was like 7 years, and I was like, okay, I gotta, once I really met my wife, I was like, I want to be able to talk to her all the time, so I had to give that up. But they all sell cell phones, but they all have different things that we like. So that's the same with coaching. Everybody's not gonna like your techniques. Everybody's not gonna like what you say, but you say it, and that's it. It's how they take it. But make sure you're curating these people. Make sure you are, don't let everybody into your group. Don't let because everybody shouldn't. I know it's very popular to say, hey, I want to run a business, but everybody does not have the business mindset that you and I have. All right. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, that's it for the podcast. We will be back tomorrow with the all new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. And as always, everybody, peace.